Hi everyone, my name is Bryan Puffolks. I'm an immigration attorney with Puffolks Law Firm. We're a full service firm serving clients throughout the 50 states and in many parts of the world. Many of you or some of you recently have asked me if we do deportation defense, and the answer is yes. We're a full service immigration law firm. We handle all matters across the spectrum, whether it's deportation defense, whether it's asylum cases, whether it's individual family petitions, whether it's investor-based petitions, employment-based petitions, you name it, we do it. Feel free to give us a call. We'd be happy to give you a virtual consultation if you're outside of the New York area, or if you're in the New York area, you can feel free to come by one of our two office locations. I do plan to post a new video this week, and we actually recorded it a few days ago, but we've been having some problems transferring the files from iMovie to my camera roll. And so when I'm able to do that, hopefully this weekend, we should be posting a new video regarding a very important recent victory that we had on a very complicated deportation case. So stay tuned for that. Today is going to be a short video, but it's going to be important updates on three topics I've discussed in the past. One, I'm going to give you an update on the New York Excluded Workers Fund. Two, the efforts for the country to pass a new immigration law in the United States. And finally, three, we're going to talk about some updates on this new process to obtain employment authorization if you have a pending U visa through this new process called bona fide determinations. So let's get started. In a prior video, I talked about the New York Excluded Workers Fund, and I will provide a link in the description below so that you can click on that link to review that video, which will give you a lot more details about this new fund. But in sum, there's a new fund in New York State that goes live in August, which will enable certain workers to ask for $15,000 in compensation for lost money because of the COVID-19 pandemic. In a nutshell, you have to be a resident of New York State. You have to have been living in New York State since March 27, 2020. You had to have lost income because of the pandemic between March 27, 2020 and April 2021. And you must have not been previously eligible or have received any federal or state unemployment insurance or COVID-19 relief income. If all of these things are true, you can begin applying for funds from the New York State Department of Labor at the link below. The second thing I want to talk to you about is the efforts to pass a new immigration law in the United States. As I discussed in a prior video, which I will also link in the description, the US Congress has been trying to pass a new immigration law for over 30 years and has been unsuccessful because the topic of immigration has been so toxic and so debated across the political spectrum between Republicans and Democrats, and even within each party there's been a lot of fighting. So we have not been able to pass a new immigration law. There's been some recent discussions about inserting immigration language into the infrastructure bill, which we've been reading a lot about in the news. However, that has not happened. And a bipartisan group of senators recently reached an agreement on the infrastructure bill. That bill will then go to the full Senate. If it's passed in the House, we'll have a complete bill for the president's signature. However, the infrastructure bill does not include any language on immigration. What the Democrats in the US Congress have decided is that they're going to go forward with an immigration bill without the need for Republican support. And the way they're going to do that is through the budget reconciliation bill, which avoids a whole filibustering process. And therefore, the Democrats alone, with support from the vice president, who is also a Democrat, will be able to pass a resolution bill which would include immigration provisions. The Democrats have agreed on a $3.5 trillion cap on the resolution bill, of which about $120 billion would be dedicated for immigration reform. The immigration provisions would include a pathway to citizenship for Dreamers, otherwise known as DACA recipients, as well as essential workers, farm workers, and people with temporary protected status, or TPS. In terms of timeline, we expect the Democrats to agree on a budget resolution bill, maybe in late summer, early fall, at which point the bill would be presented to the Senate parliamentarian, which is a whole nother process, where the Senate parliamentarian would decide whether or not the immigration provisions in the budget resolution bill comply with Senate rules. That decision could take several more weeks. So I'm estimating that if the Democrats are in fact able to come out with a budget resolution bill by late summer, early fall, we should know within a few weeks of that whether or not we'll have a new immigration law in the United States, which would be huge in light of the fact that we've been waiting for over 30 years for such a change. And the third and final update I wanted to provide for you was this new process by the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services to receive employment authorization if you have a pending U visa. I received a number of questions on how long it should take to receive a BFD employment authorization. Before we get into more details on the timing, let me just give you a quick update on what this new process is for BFD employment authorizations. On June 14, 2021, USCIS came out with a new streamlined procedure to approve employment authorization for people who have pending U visas in recognition that the past process was taking too long, where people were waiting up to 5 years to get their U visa cases decided, and then many times to get their employment authorization connected to that U visa. Understanding that 5 years is way too long, USCIS came out with a streamlined process for processing bona fide determination applications. In order for USCIS to make a bona fide determination regarding your U visa to authorize you for employment authorization, 5 things have to happen. 1, you have to have properly completed your U visa application. 2, you have to have included a law enforcement certification. 3, you have to have a personal statement. 4, you have to have completed your biometrics. And 5, after reviewing your application, USCIS has to determine that you're not a national security or public safety risk. If all those 5 elements are met, you should qualify for a bona fide determination and be processed for employment authorization. Now, in terms of timing, USCIS has just come out and has said they're not yet prepared to give us a timeline on processing U visas under this new process or BFD employment authorizations under this new process. What they have told us is that they're going to process these applications in the order that they were received. So the earlier applications should be adjudicated first, and as they organize for this new process, they're not ready to give us a timeline. Now, I do have some anecdotal evidence based on applications that my office has submitted. We've submitted numerous BFD requests, and we received a handful of receipts based on those submissions. In the cases that we submitted, the quickest amount of time that it took for USCIS to issue a receipt that a BFD application is pending is 2 months. However, most of our requests are pending and we have not yet received acknowledgement from the government. USCIS has updated their website and they are no longer providing processing time. What they are telling us is by January 1, 2022, they'll be able to give us a more accurate picture of how long it will take to process U visas and to process BFD employment authorizations. In the past, as I said, it was taking USCIS approximately 5 years to decide a U visa case, and was taking about that same time to process most employment authorization applications. The BFD process should be a lot quicker. My office has been calling USCIS every week to gather more information on processing times for BFD. So please stay tuned, and as soon as I have an update, we'll provide it to you. So this takes us to the end of this video. Again, thank you for tuning in. If you found the content helpful, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe for future content. I plan to post this video today on July 30th, 2021. So hopefully by sometime today or tonight, you'll be able to watch this video. And I do hope to post a deportation defense video this weekend, so look out for that as well. Thank you again and have a great day.